Oh boy. Hello! Since you clicked on this video, chances are you're on Steam currently reading my guide. Or maybe you found the video on YouTube, which is highly unlikely because this technically should be unlisted. Anyway, moving on. Yes, World of Warships take the helm of naval legends in this free-to-play PvP online boat game. But Strevs, isn't such power overwhelming? You're asking me. Will I truly be able to
torpedo the Yamato? Torpedo the Yamato again! And finally sink the Yamato!
Well, young skipper, I am here to teach you how to master the ancient art of Gunkando. Only then will you be able to sink the Yamato effectively. With this new technique I have developed, I will teach you the basics of World of Warships within 8 minutes. Something that many players to this day have not mastered. Ah yes, but enough chit-chat, let's get right into the topics. Here you will find your warships. Experienced players, performers of the Gunkando, refer to these as their boats. Do not quote me on this. There are 4 types of boats. The small boats are under. The destroyers are stealthy and generally nimble. All have a combination of small caliber guns and torpedoes. Cruisers are the all-rounders. They perform tasks like anti-air support and intelligence gathering with a wide array of consumables, but also have formidable armament to engage surface vessels. Battleships are the lowest skill class. Battleships are slow and boring. Battleships are the pride of the fleet. They boast huge guns and strong armor. Finally, we have carriers that are basically the tabletop simulator of World of Warships, with the tiny difference that you cannot flip this board and your team kind of depends on you to play well. No pressure. Which class you want to play entirely depends on you. I have created a small graph to show you how the different classes in theory work. Rock, paper, scissors. Ideally. Carriers are left out because they cheat. Destroyers are to battleships what paper is to rocks. Unless it's a Missouri. They outspot other surface vessels and can decimate enemies with torpedo salvos. Unless you're Russian, in which case it's guns for you. Cruisers are more like scissors. They excel at hunting down destroyers with sonar and radar, but also fill general roles of support with medium caliber armament and AA. So they're kind of more like the Swiss pen scissor of World of Warships. Battleships are like rocks. They are slow and sit in the water like a rock. But they smack the hell out of scissors if they catch them broadside. Can we stop with these analogies, please? Thank you. Finally, we have carriers. They kind of fly about. Well, the planes, not the carriers. Providing air support and dropping ships that are out of position. If you're interested in starting this class, and why the hell would you be, then I suggest searching for some extensive guides on YouTube or on the forums. Yes, chances are your port doesn't look like mine, but more like this. The reason for this is because you haven't reached the sufficient level yet. Okay. Each level unlocks a different part of the game. They're also accompanied by a video. I suggest you watch it. It gives you important information about what you have just received with your level upgrade. You are going to have to play a match before you can view all the ship lines so you can decide on what you want to play. Right, now that you're done with that, and you have selected the line you want to do, all you have to do now is grind. Okay, the golden rules are: 1. There are no friendly weapons. 2. You are not invincible. And 3. All classes are made different, but you all fight for the common goal. Now, what does that mean? Well, first of all, it doesn't matter who fired the shell or torpedo. If it hits someone, it's going to deal damage. Keep that in mind. By the way, those pink players you see in matches, they are team killers. Number 2, you are not invincible, believe it or not. The first few matches you're going to play are going to be cooperative games. That means you're fighting bots. Don't forget that real players will shoot to destroy, just like you. Keep an eye on your health, your positioning, and your consumables. And number 3, yes, this might seem simple, but keep in mind, if you cruise at the border of the map all match, having done no damage, you're likely not going to be useful to your team. Keep in mind that a loss will always be the worst turnout, especially if you want to go up a certain line and need the XP. So get stuck in, oh, and don't forget rule 2 and 1 while doing so. So, what is all this consumable talk about? Well, each class has specific consumables that help it succeed in battle. For instance, cruisers are provided with radar and defensive AA. Radar can spot undetected ships in its influence circle, while defensive AA will increase the damage output of your AA. Destroyers, on the other hand, have an engine boost and smoke generators. They allow destroyers to move around very quickly or lay a smoke to conceal itself and its allies. Finally, we have battleships that have a repair party which can heal back lost health. Not all these consumables are truly bound to each class, but are more nation-specific. For instance, the German destroyers have the hydroacoustic sonar, which generally is found on cruisers. There are 2 types of ammunition in game. All ships, except a few, have both these ammo choices. AP does the highest amount of damage, but requires the target to be penetrated to do full damage. AP can ricochet off angle targets or overpen, causing 10% of the maximum damage. HE also needs to penetrate the target, but has a much lower maximum damage. HE shells don't care for angles, as long as they overmatch the armor. HE can set fires. If an HE shell shatters, it does no damage. Torpedoes do huge amounts of damage. In addition to that, they cause floods, which do massive overtime damage to the target. Torpedo damage and flood chance is mitigated by torpedo belts. Okay, so that's all there is to the basics. If you're interested in reading up on some more advanced techniques like kiting and angling, you can head over to the Steam Guides page. Or maybe you're already there, in which case it's in the separate section. If you like this kind of stuff, feel free to subscribe. I also do World of Warplanes videos if you're interested in that. And I'm active on the forum, so feel free to drop in there if you have the time. I hope that you will enjoy the game as much as I do, and I'll see you on the seas.